Hello, you guys. Welcome back to the podcast and YouTube, and I'm so excited to dive into today's episode that I have for you today. This is about the key to unlocking insane growth, success, and magical results. And this is something that came up with one of my clients this week, and then I was like, oh my gosh, like this is something I absolutely need to work on. And the more I dove into it, as the projector that I am, the more important I realized it was. And obviously this is something that I know and that I've talked about before, but it's like, you know, when you know something and you really like, oh, like it hits you on a whole new level. That is what's been happening for me this week. So that's what we're going to be chatting about. And the kind of theme that we're diving into is safety. And before you click away, it sounds like a bit of a boring topic, but I'm going to tell you why this is so essential for manifestation. I'm going to give you some practical exercises to really create safety in your body. Without an embodied sense of safety, no matter what you do, things will not move forward. And I remember so clearly when Lauren was really like kind of going through her kind of transformation, evolving, I'd say, you know, in her business, and she felt very unsafe. And I remember like the turning point for her was this ability to begin to find safety, even when the circumstances were not, ideal for her. And from there, everything began to shift. And it's, everything that we know about neuroscience and the brain, like when you're in any form of fight, or flight, fight, or freeze, you are not activating like your full manifestation power. You're not able to change your brain. You don't really have conscious control over your actions. You're really reacting in a way instead of responding. And of course, if we want to manifest our dream lives, we have to begin to show up as her, as that person, responding as them. If we keep acting the same way day in and day out based off our reactions and our unconscious programming, nothing's ever going to change. So the number one thing we need to activate first before anything else is safety. And as I was really, this is also an article that I wrote for Substack, so if you prefer to read, there's also an article that I'll link down below. As I was really diving into this article for Substack, I realized this was something that I did inadvertently through the practice of acceptance. So with my body, I felt very unsafe being in my body. So I obviously wanted to change it. I wanted to lose weight. I wanted to, get away from my uncomfortable emotions. I did not feel safe to feel my emotions. Therefore, I would binge eat over all of my emotions. And that was something I had to transform through radical self-acceptance. And of course, feeling safe in my body, feeling safe with my emotions. I just never really put those words to it. It just never really clicked in until I was writing this article. And the same thing with being single. And right before I met Trev, I found so much safety, peace, and acceptance with being on my own. And I knew that I was going to be okay no matter what. And then 12 days later, I was engaged after meeting him. So if you are feeling like you're stuck and no matter what you do, things just are not moving forward and you're trying all the things, I'm going to give you guys a checklist today to check if your nervous system is stuck in that fight, flight, or freeze. And it's not a manifestation problem. It's not a limiting belief problem. It is a nervous system problem. Because I was noticing this over the last, few years. I was like, I really don't feel like I have limiting beliefs, but my body was in stress. After having a baby, those who know, I was in a lot of fight or flight and being triggered a lot of the times, all the time in my relationship and having a child. And I did not feel safe. And I was trying to manifest on top of not feeling safe and it wasn't working. Go figure. So first, I have a little checklist for you. So if you identify with 3 or more of the following, your body doesn't feel safe with what you're trying to create. Your manifestation is blocked at the nervous system level. And no amount of affirmations, strategy, hustle, or pumping yourself up and getting yourself motivated, if you feel like you have to do that, there's a lot of things that we need to talk about with that, but that is not going to work long term. So this is your checklist. So number 1, if you feel a pullback every time you make progress, which obviously I've been talking about, and you can check out my free 90-day masterclass where I went deep into the pullback effect and how to overcome it and how to create your 90-day glow up and really start to see massive transformation in your life in the next 90 days. And it's a free masterclass, so you can check that out. I'll link it down below. But number one is if you feel a pullback every time you make progress. So you gain momentum and then you stop, or things start going well and then suddenly something happens. This happened to me last week. I was getting back into the gym. I was feeling so good. I was like feeling stronger. All of a sudden my old back injury flared up so badly. I haven't been able to go to the gym for a week and a half. And I'm like, what the heck is going on here? I know it's my unconscious. And you'll always find a way to either slow down, pull back, sabotage, or distract yourself. 2, you can't hold the vision for long. So you feel it's very difficult for you to really visualize or feel it as done. You might get excited and then you shut down, or you say affirmations and then you feel like numb or sad, or you avoid, affirmations altogether. I was noticing I didn't want to listen to my affirmations as I was falling asleep, even though I know this is the most powerful thing that we can do. And I've seen incredible results doing it. I couldn't get myself to do it. I was had so much resistance. It was so weird. Number 3, you're overthinking, obsessing, or spiraling in doubts. You're constantly checking if it's working. You're checking numbers, you're checking engagement, you're checking your bank account, you're mentally picking apart every action. Number 4, you freeze or procrastinate when it's time to take action. You know what to do, but you can't make yourself do it. That is classic. We're not feeling safe. You might feel heavy, stuck, tired, foggy. You wait for motivation that never comes. Number 5, you avoid being seen or fully showing up. So you hold back in your content or in your sales. You dim to not make others feel uncomfortable. You fear judgment, rejection, or being, too much. What number are we on? 7, I think. I lost track of my numbers on my notes here. You are self-sabotaging when things get better. This is very similar to the pullback effect, but you're maybe overeating, overspending, binging on Netflix or YouTube. You feel like the other shoe is going to drop when good things happen. You struggle to celebrate wins. You start fights with your, significant other. You go back to old routines right when it was starting to work. And then, the struggle to celebrate wins was in alignment with your nervous system expects disappointment. So this is another one. I think this is 8. You brace when good things happen. So I was noticing, I had a whole bunch of people sign up for the manifestation immersion in one day, and I was like, I was bracing for something bad to happen. You feel like the other shoe is going to drop, or you struggle to celebrate wins, or you're like, oh my God, is someone going to ask for a refund? You're in that, you really can't really comfortably enjoy good things happening to you. Number 9, you repeat the same old patterns even though you know better. So it's like, oh my God, I thought I healed this. How is this happening again? Or you're looping through the same lessons, the same habits, the same emotional cycles. You feel like you're living Groundhog Day. You make a little bit of progress and then here you are back again and you're just like, what the fuck? Why is nothing changing, right? And then lastly, your body reacts when you think about the dream or vision. So you feel tightness in your chest or in your throat, maybe a little bit of anxiety. And yes, so that is, if you have 3 or more of those, keep on listening, because this is a lack of safety. This isn't about limiting beliefs. This is your nervous system is not on board with the manifestation and with, change in general. So safety is the mechanism that turns the manifestation magic on. And you can absolutely get back to or experience for the first time the most magical manifestation flow state where you easily connect with your goals and vision. You take action, you can visualize clearly, you stop the self-sabotage cycle and experience real and lasting results. Yay, no more roller coaster. So how do we create that safety and unlock our manifestations? And that is what we're going to chat about today. So number 1, the first thing is that we need to recognize that safety is a felt sensation. It is not a mindset. You cannot think your way into safety. You've got to genuinely feel your way into safety, right? Number 2, you've got to regulate your nervous system daily. This is such a freaking buzzword, regulating your nervous system, but it's true. And, this can be said in so many ways. You need to be able to feel calm, relaxed, open, regulated. So you are responding, not reacting. You need to feel safe. I talked about in the airplane analogy on my Instagram recently, you need to feel open and available for the manifestations to flow in. And you can do this through many different practices. What works for one person may not work for someone else. I find very simple, deep breathing. Anytime I did this all day yesterday and I was amazed at how differently I felt. Anytime I felt that hit, I would deeply breathe in. I'm safe. I'm supported. And I would do it at least 3 times until I felt the sensation of safety and relaxation enter my body. And I probably did this 100 times yesterday. And I noticed how much I did not then, I was realizing, I was craving a lot of distraction all the time, listening to a podcast or, reading a book or watching a stupid show. And I was constantly distracting myself from, just life. I was not feeling safe in my body. I was not feeling safe in my mind. And yesterday I had zero desire to partake in any of those habits. And because I just kept coming into that sensation of safety. So breath work, deep breathing, exhale longer than the inhale to activate your parasympathetic nervous system. Obviously tapping, I'm all about the tapping. Humming, singing, which activates your vagus nerve. Grounding, so like really, laying down, touching the ground, hugging a tree, whatever you need to do. Shaking, dancing, movement, like getting outside in nature, I find always really powerful. But obviously this needs to be done with awareness. Like I can go for a walk in nature and still be completely distracted listening to a podcast and in total fight or flight, right? Like I'll feel slightly better, but I'm still in that stress response. So these things need to be done with intention. So you can also have physical safety cues like a warm blanket or a heavy blanket, soft lighting. Like when I get up in the morning, I just light a candle, and obviously winter is happening. So it's nice and dark in here, and I just find a sensation of calm before my toddler is yelling at me to feed him breakfast first thing in the morning. Meditation, obviously relaxation exercises. So that's always going to be a big one for me, is like getting myself into a deeply relaxed state. So I like to, lay down and relax my arms, my hands, all the muscles in my face, my neck, my chest, my stomach, every single body part I go through, and I deeply relax it. And then I will go into like a visualization or something like that from that purely relaxed state. And then, like I said, deep breathing with the affirmations. So you are not regulating your nervous system when you're like zoning out, watching TV, disassociating. You are actually only reaffirming the fact that you aren't safe to be in your body and safe to be in the present moment. So if you feel like you're constantly distracted and like seeking that like outside external distraction and you can't just sit with yourself, that is a huge sign that you are not feeling safe to be in your body, and you are not going to be very good at manifesting, okay? If you need to be able to sit, like that's why I think meditation is so powerful, like the ability to just sit and be with ourselves and calm our body and calm our mind, and like that is one of the most powerful things that we can do. So how do you know if your nervous system, regulation practices are actually working? And this is really important because, like I said, you could be doing all of those things and still not really accessing that true safe state. So what you're looking for when you do these is your body feels open instead of tight. So I had like a lot of caffeine this morning, so I'm definitely noticing like I probably need to like cut out caffeine because that will help me feel more safe. Like I'm like, oh, my chest just feels a little bit tight and anxious. And your shoulders will drop, your jaw will unclench, your breath will deepen, your heart will feel like more warm, neutral, not pounding from caffeine. Your mind gets quieter, there's less noise. So I really find meditation brings me to that place. You feel fully present, so you're not, obsessing over the past or future tripping. You're not replaying conversations. You can, you're not kind of like mentally time traveling, like you're okay being here and now, right? You can feel and stay with emotions without panicking or numbing. So you can feel sadness, fear, discomfort without reaching for food, without running away. You're not collapsing, right? And this is a key element to manifestation. If you cannot hold emotions or feel safe to move through the spectrum, you're not going to feel safe to hold the manifestation that you want, right? Another thing you're looking for is that your default state feels safe. So you don't need to be super excited, super high vibe. Like it's just more like, I'm okay. I can handle what comes, like nothing is wrong, I'm good, right? You also have access to creativity again, so you'll experience more of those little nudges. You can visualize the future without shutting down. You respond instead of react. So I think this is something that you really notice once you have children. Like I know when my nervous system is activated because I'm immediately more like snappy and impatient with Jaden instead of able to just calmly respond despite whatever he is doing, right? So choosing a response instead of defaulting into old patterns is manifestation 101. We need to be able to do that. So if your nervous system is activated, and I've really noticed how important this is because my husband is struggling with PTSD and he can really obviously react from that state. And what I can tell when his nervous system is activated, it's like, even if I say something, you know, kind of in the wrong tone, like he'll kind of snap. And I don't mean to make him sound like this terrible person. It's just like he's dealing with something really heavy, and that's really hard on his nervous system. And his work is to like calm his body down so that he can respond instead of react. You also will feel more connected to yourself, to others, to source. Like you don't feel isolated, and in your head you feel, I feel like I'm like part of life. It's like when you're looking at a sunset or the ocean, you're just like, wow, like you feel connected and open, right? You also experience more flow instead of force. So you don't have to like push yourself into action. You don't have to force yourself. There's like this natural motivation. And your goals feel closer, not farther away. So when you think about what you're manifesting, it feels possible. You feel maybe curious or excited. You don't instantly contract or want to pull back. So this is so important. Like I want you to actually check in right here, right now. Notice when you think about your manifestation and what it is that you desire to create, how do you feel? Like, is it a good feeling? Is it a leaning forward, excited, open, curious? Or is it a pulling back like, oh my God, that's never going to happen. Like, I just need to brace myself for disappointment feeling. Because that is going to tell you what you are creating right away. Okay, so the third step in creating that safety within our body is healing the root memory of where the expansion started to equal danger. So this is something I had some huge breakthroughs around yesterday. And it was really interesting to notice. And your body keeps the score, even if your mind doesn't physically remember. We need to identify the moment that joy or success became unsafe. So what is your first memory of experiencing, you know, a high level of joy, success, happiness, and then all of a sudden, what happened? What is that memory where things dropped off and it all of a sudden felt unsafe to be that way? It might be something small. It might be a little trauma. It might be a big trauma. For me, I was like at the height of like my, you know, happiness, joy, love, pregnancy, everything. And then COVID just got like so, you know, there was so much anger and like, I felt like I lost a lot of friendships and like, I felt completely isolated alone when I'm about to give birth to a baby. It was a terrible, terrible time. And I want to cry just thinking about it. And I just felt incredibly like unsafe. And yeah, so identify the moment and then acknowledge it and feel the pain in a safe setting. So have a good cry. If you need to get angry, whatever it is, feel through and release the emotions. And then you want to reparent that version of yourself. What do they need? So I did a really powerful visualization yesterday when I was just there for her, for that pregnant version of me that was really scared and alone. And I was like giving her a hug and I was, you know, telling her, you know, it's all going to be okay and you are safe and like, so all the things that I needed to hear, right? And I also, did I say matrix reimprinting? That's something where, I think I've talked about this before. You can search it in the podcast, where you're utilizing tapping to go back and reframe or change the experience that you had that may have created any form of trauma for you. And then you install a new association. So really developing a new belief around, you know, this time is different because I am grounded or I am supported or, you know, I know what to look out for and know how to hold it. Whatever it is that feels true and expansive and better is what we want to install into our body through feeling it. Okay. And then we have number 4, which is restoring trust in yourself and in life. So when we are not feeling safe, we're not trusting life. We're not trusting the universe. We're not trusting life. We're not trusting ourselves because we're falling into self-sabotaging habits and we're like, what is wrong with us? Like, why can't I do the things? So instead of trying to jump to this entirely new level and like quantum leap, that is the opposite of what you should be doing. You need to be building trust through daily, very small promises to yourself that you are keeping and building the evidence that I can trust myself to follow through. When I say I'm going to do something, it is going to happen. And that's how, once you build that self-trust, you can say, I am going to, you know, become this. And your body's like, yes, we are, right? Because you trust yourself. You trust yourself to follow through. So that is so important. Like literally be like, I'm going to do 10 squats and then do 10 squats, or I'm going to unload the dishwasher and then unload the dishwasher. Like whatever small task you can do, it's so imperative that you follow through. The task is not as important as the follow through. Okay. So I don't want you thinking I need to do something big in order to like get results. No, the only thing that matters is that you keep the promise to yourself. So make the smallest, easiest promises to yourself that you can follow through on, because that is what is going to create that sensation in your body of like, I trust myself. I am safe. I can say I'm going to do something and it gets done, right? Do not try to shoot for the moon here. Do not try to make drastic changes. Literally, I talked about this inside the 90-day Glow Up Masterclass. Definitely go listen to it around up-leveling the worst version of yourself. It's not about trying to make, the best version of you way better, because that's not safe for your nervous system. You need to make the lowest version of yourself, the one who's scared, afraid, procrastinating, avoiding, like hiding away from the world, slightly elevated. She makes her bed. Period. You can feel proud of yourself for making your bed. Whatever way that you can make a promise to yourself, keep it and begin to build that evidence of I can rely on me. And then you can start to build through when it feels safer. Like, I'm not someone that's very good at relying on other people, hence because I felt so abandoned during that time. Asking for small ways, allowing yourself to be supported by others, connecting to your faith, to source, to the universe, maybe asking for, angel numbers or signs, like little ways where you can really begin to feel more connected and more in trust with the universe and yourself, okay? Number 5 for creating safety is making expansion familiar instead of terrifying to your nervous system. Obviously, we all want to expand. We all want more money. We want more friends. We want more love. We want more happiness. We want more career success. But your brain only wants what it knows. So we need to make expansion and reaching that new level feel normal. So microdoses of, visibility, post the thing, even if it's not totally perfect, show up on your stories regardless, celebrate every small thing. This is something that I come back to again and again and again and again. That is our mind magic process, which is like celebrating every small win, every piece of evidence, every good thing. And this is like teaching your body that it's safe and that it's working. It turns on that sensation in your brain of like, this is working, it's happening. Oh my gosh, like I'm building evidence. That is so powerful for your brain. Spending time in the energy of your future self through visualization, scripting, that sort of thing. But again, safety first, and then see if you can access it. If it's coming from this energy of feeling forced and you can't connect with it and it's actually making you feel more anxious than excited, then you need to come back to the safety. You need to come back to the relaxation, to calming your body, all of those things, okay? Number 6 is up-leveling the worst version of yourself, which I kind of mentioned a few minutes ago. So attempting huge leaps creates more of a sensation of this isn't safe and keeps you even more stuck in the cycle and feeling like even more of a failure. So can you make micro improvements of the worst version of you? So I gave the example in my article, instead of, binging 8 episodes of something, can you binge 6 and, fold laundry while you do it? You can feel proud of yourself for that. And I know this might seem insignificant, but I'm telling you, those shifts will change your entire fucking life, okay? The most powerful shift I ever made in my life was leaving 2 Oreos in the pack. I still binged on all other 28 Oreos. I still ate a whole ball of ice cream. I still, whatever else was in the house, I ate it all. However, that was the tiniest win that was like, oh my gosh, like I am choosing something different. And trying to stop binging completely would just kept ending up in feeling like a failure, feeling unsafe, because I didn't have those coping mechanisms built yet. So I needed to be able to find safety in my body first, and then I was able to stop binge eating. But it started with leaving 2 Oreos in the container, okay? So please don't think that you need to make these drastic shifts to change your life. You need to make the smallest shifts, but follow through on them day in and day out, which is going to compound to incredible results. Another thing I talk about inside the 90-day Glow Up Masterclass. Definitely go watch that. Also, the 2-minute timer could be your best friend. 2-minute actions, because the hardest part sometimes is starting and feel like it's only 2 minutes. 2 minutes of clearing up your emails, 2 minutes of tidying up, 2 minutes of hanging up laundry, 2 minutes of movement, 2 minutes of meditation. Like just 2 minutes can change your entire life. If you do that day in and day out, use 2 minutes. And then lastly, creating safety around having of it and the lack of it, okay? So this is where true safety comes in, where you're gonna reach your most magnetic state of all time, where you are good with it and good without it. You can manifest anything, literally. And most of us, think we're good with it, but there's a lot of parts of us that don't feel safe with it. And most of us definitely don't feel good without it. So we're constantly in this state of we are not safe. We're not safe with it. We're not safe without it. We're just not safe. Like, we need things to change. And again, when you're operating from that energy, nothing is going to change. Things are only going to get worse. Okay. So like I said, like, this is something I really developed around my dream body and as well as being single that led to my greatest manifestations of all time. Can you find okayness no matter what? And knowing that you will in fact be okay. So sometimes this takes time and this takes a lot of practice. It took me a lot of time to accept my body as it was, but it was the most freeing thing I ever did. And then I dropped 40 pounds, right? If you're constantly dysregulated and in fear of the worst case scenario, I hate to tell you that you are manifesting that. Like, I don't want to make you feel more fearful, but you need to make your number one job like calming and regulating your nervous system, going into a calm, safe space for yourself, because the more emotion that is flowing around something, the faster it's going to manifest. And most of us have a lot of fear and a lot of negative emotions around where we are, which is only keeping it in our reality or making it worse, right? And we're unable to access those really good feelings around, the manifestations that we desire because we are in fight, flight, or freeze. So this is our number one thing that we need to focus on, is finding this safety. Without it, nothing can change. Make finding safety your number one manifestation, like, practice. Something that I did yesterday, like I said, was like, I'm safe, I'm supported 3 times until I genuinely felt it. So this is how you truly rewire your identity and your nervous system. You will have to do this over and over and over again, so keep it simple. One mantra, one little practice that you are going to stick to long term. Anytime you notice yourself feeling, I don't know why my screen is like so dark. Anytime you notice yourself feeling, dysregulated, which is going to be a lot of the time. Like, first we need to bring awareness to it, and then you want to have that go-to, like, that you can do anywhere, anytime, when you're driving, when you're with your kids, whatever. At any point you can breathe and say to yourself, I'm safe and I'm supported. I'm safe and I'm supported. And then, if it was possible and available to me, I would seek evidence and scan for evidence of my surroundings in ways in which I was safe. So, I'm safe and supported by this chair. I'm safe and supported, like last night when I was in the bath, like by this warm bath water. I'm safe and supported, like by the sun streaming on my face, by this car that I'm driving. Like, it doesn't need to be these big things, but we are creating this micro evidence for our brain that shows us that we are safe and supported, which is going to lock it in so much faster. But you need to do this consistently. You can't just do it for one day. You need to do it for like 4 weeks, like day in and day out, again and again and again and again, until it feels truly done and embodied and like your automatic kind of who you are. Okay, so to summarize, a consistent sensation of safety in your body is the number one thing that we need to hold to manifest anything that we want. Without it, nothing's really going to change, or you're going to manifest things that you don't want. Okay, so practice that. I challenge you to spend time every single day activating the sensation of safety and calming your nervous system, letting go of resistance, just getting into your body, being present, meditating, whatever it is that works for you. And then once that is locked in, you are going to be able to manifest so easily. I'm telling you. And when you want to activate the rest of the manifestation, go check out the 90-day Glow Up Masterclass to get started on that. And I'll see you guys in the next video or the next episode. Mwah!